Good morning, crew. I'm not sure what I'm going to say today, but the way I'm feeling is pretty chipper. I've been adding to this painting, which I totally forgot to cover up before shooting my video. I don't know if when I'm done with it, I'm going to really want to show it off, or if it'll just be something for me to look at for my own soul and just totally sacred and private. So I don't know how that'll go, but at least I've been adding to it. And I guess you're joining me for my morning coffee as well. Yeah, I've been going running lately, and well, I've got some really good news. A couple of my anti-white neighbors got arrested. That's good to know when one or two of the people who make your residence a fucking hell, go to jail. In a few hours, I'll be working with this old man and this young man he hired recently. And, it's pretty cool it won't be just me. The old man's pretty cool. Pays us right, or whatever. He's really good at paying for your time and having the next instructions, which is really important for me. I want to know when I get done with this task, what is the next task? So that's coming up. Yeah. I'm having a little trouble telling, but I mopped in here yesterday. I feel like I'm doing pretty alright these days. Still really need to move. This environment is just as anti-white as I've always presented it as. In fact, more than I've presented it as, because too much anti-whiteism just isn't presentable at all, is it? So if I were easily fooled, I would think I'm just the guy who gets shit and it's embarrassing and I should be ashamed. But, when you're the one being an adult, you're the one with the adult variables in mind, then what do you do? But, be the better person in spite of them, not because of them, as Manly P. Hall said. Something like that, he said. I may have not quoted him completely accurately, but something to that effect. Which, by the way, were really good lectures. Manly P. Hall lectures. I always enjoyed those throughout my long obsession with the occult. Now that I'm more racially conscious, some of what he says is too universal for me, too much about the brotherhood of man or something. I don't suppose it was his job to really worry about white people. From all the lectures I used to listen to, I would think in Masonry they worship black people and feel that they're superior to us, or some superior force that we must hold down. This is just according to lectures from back in the day. I I'd hate to name drop these occultists, but they did really help me. Uh, people have their models that help them make sense of the world. Christianity, paganism. I've got mine. And I don't know what to call it, but embracement of the soul. I know that I have a soul that has a will, and that purpose will haunt you for you to follow it, for you to follow through with it. And, I'm just feeling, a little chipper, and like, I should say hi to the community. It was an awesome live at No White Guilt on YouTube last night, and I love gathering with you all there. I love gathering with you all in the live chats, even if I have little to say. Which at the end there, I did get pretty tired, but it's a new day today, and I feel pretty ready for the day's bringing, even though we don't know what it is. And I don't know. I hope you're doing okay. And I feel like I'm pausing a lot in this one. Just getting ready for the day. According to my phone, I have nearly a whole hour to record now if I want to. I doubt it'll be that long. I have an inconsistent relationship with coffee. Some of the times I'll just have to have it, and other times I can just leave it alone forever. Like, the way it makes one's breath taste afterward, and there's this kind of gooey feel in my mouth. And it's, I'll usually want to brush my teeth soon afterward. I gather that it's getting a little cooler. I wasn't really excited about that, I like to know my days will be nice and hot and summery. But it certainly cooled down. I'm a little curious as to how it feels outside right now. Yeah, it's cooled down. Oh, I don't have to edit just that over my shoulder and whatever was shown. Probably not. I give this a watch before I upload it. I always watch myself first. But, yeah. I've really had the sense of being stuck out here because I know I need to move. I know there's too much anti-whiteism. They'll never let me live down all the social lynching. They tried to really make my problem, I was socially lynched, stalked, you know, unable to obtain any quietude, and yeah, so really glad if a couple of them are gone. You know, like Nicholas DeSantis said, sometimes there really is a God. uh, if I could get rid of every anti-white, of course, every place would be healthy. Well, my parents say they're really looking for me somewhere to move, and gosh, there's been places to look at for sure. But we'll just see. We'll see what there is as you know as the unpredictable future unfolds. And yeah, sorry if I'm not pulling all my words together too well this time. Um, Trying to remember last night's live to kind of recap. Uh, I know Arvel has really been getting bombarded by anti-whiteism, but it seems like something that'd come with the territory when you're the face of something we all want to do. uh, it sure looks like a community, a nice community every time I see footage of it, the Return to Land community. I think they have a great speaker. He just, we can't stress enough the importance of using our terminology, calling out anti-whiteism, letting everyone know who the attack is upon and who it's coming from. You know, not a race. And as Jason has well addressed, it's clearly not that they're a race, and it's not my constitution. It's that they're anti-white, you know. So like conservative and J-Spurg talking points, you know, they're like one and the same, in that they gatekeep people away from the proper concepts to really defend ourselves as a race. And gosh, the people I've talked to recently about anti-whiteism, you know, they took pretty kindly, or you know, they were willing to hear me out until, you know, the conversation about politics or what have you is over. But the white race really needs to recognize we are under attack as a race, not as individuals, certainly not as conservatives or Republicans or what have you. The content that keeps people in these loops are like Nick Fuentes and them. It's intentional gatekeeping. You know, it's done for self-aggrandizement. And, you know, they're just in our way. The J-Spurgs and conservatives. Believe Jason called it the tyranny of the tards. Oh, he cracked me up a couple times last night. I love to see you all swashing. I wish I could be there for more of it, but as it stands now, I can only scroll up Twitter, see what I can see of what you've all posted, and Well, Twitter, whatever it did for me, it doesn't do for me. Uh, I've been spending less time on Twitter lately, and except I like to come to the shade tree gatherings, and there's a lot of glitching when I do that, but you know, all the participation I can contribute, that's good. I I just wanted to say good morning to everyone, and you know, I'm hanging in there. I'm receiving good encouragement from you, crew. I I really appreciate our solidarity, and that we know what needs fought, we know what to call it, and we gather and spread the lexicon. We spread Go Free. Uh, I'm not gonna lie, it sucked trying to do that in my hometowns. The places that I'm from, the people, I lived near so much. I was living right behind enemy lines before, where I had non-white, anti-white neighbors in very close proximity, and the the pressure on non-whites to be anti-white when they're anti-white is just, they will go very far. Um, I I didn't see a lot less anti-whiteism when I got moved around whites, really. Um, Both places I've lived here and I hope I didn't just name one of the towns, but um, the places I've lived here and there, they were both worse than each other in their own ways. It's gotten quieter out here, but I won't forget, you know. Um, and plenty of the time, it's just like, this is like jail. This just isn't my real life. Like, I'm meant for greater things. I will get out of here. And it's good to keep in mind that when you're in a situation you shouldn't be in, like, you will get out. You have to have that determination. This doesn't make me. I make me. And I'm destined for greater things, and really be able to envision them. Just take yourself, it could be to a place that doesn't exist yet, you know, um, just somewhere in the ether. But, you know, I I fight to keep close to my sense of self as possible, and to defend my mind. That's what's under attack the most anymore. Where before, in the town full of anti-whites, non-whites that I had to live near, like, you know, it was definitely more in my face. I had an anti-white neighbor overhead who could just stomp through my ceiling. They had the nerve to play with their guns right out in the grass or right out by my door, cock them and talk their anti-white shit and make their anti-white threats. It was all really disgusting, and you know, um, I. It's good that we want to live around white people, but there are the right types of white people to live around. And even even the places before what I'm talking about, like, it was still pretty bad. There was a lot of degenerate activity. People are mad because of how they've thrown their own lives away, and they're mad at you if you even, you know, have that sense of self. I'm talking about that sense that, you know, you are to actually get somewhere, that I don't know how to describe it, but just I it's real hateful lots I've lived near, and I don't want to talk too much about them because there's a beautiful fire inside us that knows we are Western kind. This is who and what we are, and it is to be embraced as much as possible. Um, you know, I tried to communalize and be a part of things going on locally, and we just don't have that. I'll be doing good to just be more isolated, you know, get some real solitude. Um, I'm a little eager to go back over this video now, see what I've shot. But, you know, I just wanted to share the experience of getting up, making my coffee, thinking with you all. I I hope to do this more in the future, even though I'm not really always sure what I'll talk about. And, you know, sometimes I don't even know what to contribute to the movement, what talking points to bring, um, which things in my own awareness need shared with the collective awareness of Team White Wellbeing and all the people we want to reach. But these things do come up. Sometimes, like with the Shiloh Hendrix thing, where I just have to say something. Yeah, yeah. I still remember how that pissed me off. I don't want to get pissed off, so I don't want to think about that. uh, I don't want to think about low people's natures right now. Mark Dice just uploaded White Girl Summer something. I just popped at the top of my phone real quick. I love what Mark Dice does, but I don't know. I thought it was real over the top the way he defended Hulk Hogan. Like, it's not that Hulk Hogan had the proper concepts to describe what would bother him about his daughter dating or sleeping with blacks. You know, of course, can we expect him to articulate, I believe it's wrong because it leads to white erasure, and, you know, I don't feel it's as natural for our biospirits to miscegenate, and I don't want that for my family or anyone I care about. I want our genes, our Western DNA to be preserved, and our ways. You know, I want, a Western son-in-law. Like, I don't, I don't think we could expect him to articulate it, but I felt like Mark Dice was kind of reckless, in not the way he defended Hulk Hogan. Like, because if I didn't know him like I did, if I didn't know he can construct such positive and helpful points for us, if I were, you know, some crybaby of a political persuasion, I might would think he just thinks it's cool. Hulk Hogan said the N word, and I definitely don't want people to get the impression that we really condone or would use or find ourselves in agreement with that type of talk. You know, it's not. It's not the race. It's that it's not our race. That it's not our biospirit, and we are not going to produce the same biospiritual projections. We're not going to have the same respect for the same definition of law and learning. Like, we we have to preserve what makes America America, Ireland Ireland, Sweden Sweden, and gosh, it's so hard just watching the world put the focus everywhere but white well-being. Yeah. When the focus is on how is this affecting us whites, not certainly not get rid of the other races. I don't know. It's just most people are not equipped with the tools to even begin hearing points about white identity and how it's healthy and how we should embrace our race. Like, most people don't have the tools to hear that and put together, oh, this person is not someone who has a problem with non-whites for being non-white. This is a person who just cares about his people, and wants us not to be victimized on the basis of our birth. You have to follow up with points like that for them to get it. And I see some extremism coming out, like, the preacher guy from Tennessee allegedly or possibly condones genocide. I haven't looked into him myself. But I know how I don't want us to look. I'll leave it there because I don't really research the Spurgs, the people calling themselves nationalist. Jason ruined Fuentes for me. I can't remember having looked him up, to view his content and what he says. I've heard more than enough about it from a man who's been trying for decades to save us as a race. And I just can't get into it. If I start to watch him, I just know he's gatekeeping and it pisses me off. You know? Um, I just wanted to share a moment with you, crew. You were the people who are really carrying out the will and what needs done to help end our victimization on the basis of our birth. calling out anti-whiteism, for anti-whiteism, and centering your focus on your own, your biospiritual kin, our biospirit. And I really appreciate it. I'm a little eager to get off here and get other things are rolling, I guess. But I don't know how good of an example I am for this advice, but just try to stay positive, and hang in there with me. We're hanging in, and yeah, I look forward to joining you all in the shade trees, the lives, and I hope you have a good day. Peace.